Okay, coming in now, I'm going to do my air pre-trip and my in-cab pre-trip. So I'll tell the examiner I'm just going to start the truck up so I can build up my air. In the wet tank I just drained, and in the meantime I'd like to do my in-cab pre-trip. So I like to start at the top. There's a switch over here, first switch beside the steering wheel. I turn that on, and that'll be my dome lights up top. Okay, so I start at the top with my dome lights are on. Okay, I work down to my compartments here. My compartments, there's nothing in it that's going to become a projectile. Everything is secure. Next thing is my compartments here. The doors are all secure. In this one, I have my registration and insurance. Okay, and then there's nothing really under here. So now I go to the side. Okay, I work with the buttons here. You don't have to mention the buttons, but you're gonna. First thing is the first one's adjust the mirror. So you're gonna tell them that the mirrors are adjusted properly. The next one are the windows. So you're gonna say windows go up, windows go down. Next one is the door. The door opens. You're gonna get the examiner to open his door and close. Okay, lights. Lights go on, lights go off. You'll get the examiner on that side to do his as well. Next back there is the seat belt. Okay, you're going to get the seat belt. You'll get the examiner to get his. Make sure it clicks in and clicks out. Okay, seat belt will give you a hint on what's next. And that'll be the seat. So the seat is adjusted properly. The next thing I'm going to move forward is the steering wheel. The steering wheel is adjusted properly. Now we'll do things on the steering wheel. Horns work. Windshield wipers work. Okay. And then I'm going down to buttons, or the dash. Okay, so I'm going to go here. The farthest one to the left is my four-way flashers. Four-way flashers are done inside the cab because they're the same circuit that makes them flash here is the one that makes them flash outside. So if they're flashing here, they're flashing outside. Okay, so that's it. Four-way flashers are working. Then I'm moving up to my dash. 3 dials I want to mention. One is fuel. Right, remember I said I wanted to check, make sure it was around a quarter of a tank, which it is. The next thing is fuel pressure. Okay, my fuel pressure is at 30 psi. I want to check that. And battery. Down here, before you start it, there's a battery light that comes on. If everything's working properly, the battery light goes off. So you group those together. You're going to say my fuel, my voltage, oil pressure are all working normally. The rest of the dials are all working properly. Okay, then we're going to come across. We're going to do our air pre-trip in a minute. He doesn't much care what radio station you listen to. And switches. Switches. These switches are all in their proper position, as well as these switches are all in their proper position. Now moving this way. Fan. We can hear that the fan works. We have it in defrost. Get your hands up here, check defrost. Check downstairs. Downstairs works. Upstairs. Upstairs works. Fan off. Okay? Keep working this way. This is my dash dim lights. So, lights, dash lights are working, dimmer switch is working, okay? And then I'm done. So, again, recap. What we start is at the top. I go with dome lights first. Work my way down to compartments, okay? Then lights. Then these compartments with insurance and registration. Then there's nothing. Over here, mirrors are adjusted, windows are adjusted, door opens and closes. Seat belt works. Seat is adjusted. Steering wheel is adjusted. Horns work. Windshield wipers work. Four-way flashers, fuel, voltage, and oil pressure all working normally. Rest all working properly. Switches, proper position. Fan works. Defrost, downstairs, upstairs. Dash lights work. Dimmer switch works. End of in-cab pre-trip. Next thing I'd like to do is I'd like to do my air pre-trip. So, first thing I want to do for my air pre-trip is I want to make sure that my governor is working. I want to make sure that my governor puts my compressor into a loaded state. Right now it's in an unloaded state, it's not doing anything. So, before the compressor will start, I have to lose at least 15 psi. I'm going to fan down the brakes to 90 psi. Okay, here they go. These are my dials here. They're down to 90 psi. Now, at a high idle, between 1,000 and 1,200, I see the needle starting to rise. That tells me that the governor has put my compressor into a loaded position. So now I want to make sure that it goes into an unloaded position. That'll happen at just above 120 psi, so I'm going to continue with the high idle and wait and see if it goes into an unloaded position. So these are my needles now. They've stopped moving up. I've settled down just over 120. That tells me that the governor has put the compressor back into an unloaded state. So my governor is working properly. The next thing I want to check is that I have a low air alarm. I'm going to fan down the brakes until I get one. I should get one somewhere just above 60 psi. So away I go. Fanning down the brakes. There they go. There we go. I have an audible alarm as well as a visual alarm. And now I'm going to continue fanning down the brakes to see if my tractor protection valve works, and my trailer brake should dynamite between 25 and 45 psi. So I keep moving them down. Boom. Trailer brakes dynamite. Now I want to do a build-up test between 50 and 90 in under 3 minutes. At a high idle, between 1,000 and 1,200, I see my needles rising. There you go. Now, as soon as my low air warning comes off, I want to reach over and release my brakes, because all I've done so far is filled up the tanks, but now I've supplied air back to the trailer. I want to make sure that all of that builds up to 90 in under 3 minutes. Again, I'm watching them build. There they are at 90. So they went from 50 to 90 in well under 3 minutes. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I want to do a leak test. So, best thing for a leak test is to shut the engine off. Okay, I have a windows rolled down. I make a 90-pound brake application. I'm going to hold it for 1 minute. I can't lose any more than 4 psi, 3 psi without a trailer, 6 psi with 2 trailers after my initial brake application. So I'm going to hold that for 1 minute. I listen outside to see if I hear any air leaks. I don't hear anything. We'll just say a minute's up. I haven't lost any more than 4 psi. So my leak test works. Now I want to go outside and I want to make all of this happen in real life. So I'm going to go and make an airline brake, and all of this stuff should happen. So let's go outside. You can go that way if you want. We're going to go to the back of the tractor. Okay, here we are at the back of the tractor. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop off the supply line, and that'll act just like an airline brake. So it'll just be like an airline brake, and what should happen is my tractor protection valve, which is right here, should stop the air from being supplied to the trailer between 25 and 45 psi. My brake should also dynamite on the trailer. So I'm going to pull this off, and this will simulate an airline brake. So there's my air leaking out. Again, it should be going down. My low air warning should be coming on. Boom, it's down to 25 to 40. Tractor protection valve has shut off the air to the trailer and saved me air for the tractor so that I can still drive it. I'm going to lay this down here. I'm going to take off the blue line, lay it down. Now I've got to go in and make sure that all those things happen visually. So what should have happened is my brake should have dynamited on the trailer, which means my red button should be out. So I'll look in here. Sure enough, there it is, my red button's popped out. I also got to go and visually check that my brakes have dynamited, so I'm going to walk down here. How I'm going to tell that the brakes are on is my slack adjusters will be at a 90 degrees, just like that, not in. Okay, so that will be applied. Okay, so I look down here, I see my slack adjusters, and they are at 90 degrees. Okay, so back up to the tractor now. Now I just want to do one more leak test that my tractor protection valve is not going to let air out of the glad hands to the trailer when I disconnect. So I'm going to make a brake application, and I shouldn't hear any air leaking out of the air lines. So here we go, brake application. No air leak. My tractor protection valve is working great. So I'm going to hook back up my air lines now. Okay, next thing I want to do is my tug test. So to do that, I want to make sure that my brakes are applied on the tractor, because I'm going to pull out my chocks. I want to make sure that my yellow button is out. Set my brakes on the tractor. Okay, Head lock in there.